Welcome to the Little White Lie Digital Network with Caren Glasser. The Little White Lie is all about the lies we tell ourselves about getting older and how to love the age that we're in. Hello everyone, Caren Glasser here, and I am so excited that you're here at the Little White Lie. We have such a special show today. It's one of my closest, dearest friends we have on, and I am just so jazzed that he's here today. But before we jump into the show, if you're here on replay, terrific. Make sure you comment, put your comments down there, because this conversation is going to continue, as I like to say, ad nauseum, forever and ever and ever. And we're going to go back in and we're going to comment and make sure that you know how much we appreciate you. And again, a shameless plug, we would love for you to share the show. Look down on your mobile device or your tablet or your computer, wherever you're watching this, hit that share button, send it out so that all of your friends will join us over here. And it's time for the reveal that I do every single week. Here is my little white lie. There you have it. We would love for you to go visit thelittlewhitelie.com. And specifically now, I really want you to go over there because we're getting ready to launch the premiere issue of the Little White Lie digital magazine. And if you put your name in the form over there, you will get it. It's like magic, auto magic. You're going to get that magazine sent right to your email box. We go live with the premiere issue on October 4th. And as a matter of fact, we will be launching live on one of these Facebook Lives. And again, when you're posting, make sure you use that hashtag Little White Lie, so that we can find you wherever you're hiding on social media. So today, the question that we're asking, can you teach an old dog new tricks? Now, I'm not saying that any of you out there are old dogs, and I'm certainly not going to call myself a dog rough. But the question is, can you teach an old dog new tricks? And who better to answer this question and get involved in the conversation is one of my very bestest friends in the whole world. His name is Casey Eberhart, and he has been an entrepreneur probably since he turned 5. I mean, really, since he turned 5. His story is pretty amazing, and he continues to be an entrepreneur. He actually ran an amusement park. Yes. He worked on an Oscar-winning film. He's done so many different things. And I met up with him, and actually we became friends long after he was in the amusement park business and long after the Oscar thing. But he is still one of the most fascinating people I have ever met, and he lives his passion. He lives it, he breathes it, and that is why we have him here today. And so we bring in Casey Eberhart. Hello, my friend. How are you?
I'm so awesome, Caren. It ought to be a sin.
And for those of you who just heard that and wonder why I say that all the time, now you know, because we are both.
In 12 or 13 states, it probably is. So, you know.
There you go. There you go. So, Casey, I'm just so excited that you're here. I want to ask this question. I ask all my guests. Casey Eberhart, what is your little white lie?
Well, you know, Caren, there are several of them, but the one that I'll reveal at the top of the show, anyway, is I have told myself for years that I am a person that can focus and follow one course and really try to dial down. And here's the reality. As an entrepreneur, I have to let that go. And I have to kind of come out of the closet, so to speak, and kind of share with the world that one of the things that makes up my makeup or my chemical makeup behind the screen or behind the video is that I am all over the place. I am going in 35, 40, 50 different directions at all times. And for me, I find that is the most, that's the most effective and efficient way for me to get through stuff. It's not for everybody, but I do certainly, I am the proverbial squirrel that chases the shiny object.
I think the word squirrel and that whole thing was actually invented for you, quite frankly. It does take a lot to keep up with you, but quite frankly, when we can keep up with you, we have the time of our lives. So I want to ask you, can you teach an old dog new tricks? I mean, you've done so many things. Can you teach an old dog new tricks?
Well, yeah. I mean, I first think that we need to define old dog, right?
Right.
And I think that's just anybody going through life that is ready to make a change, whether that's a transition in different age categories. You know, I'm a puppy to a teenager, or I'm a kid to a teenager to a pre-adult, a pre-adult to an adult, adult moving on in different chapters of their life. So I think if you take that question, you say, you know, does that mean that as we go through our journey here on the planet, that we can and are set up for changing directions and reinventing ourselves and coming out of the closet with our little white lies? Absolutely. I think that the one downside of that, or the one thing that kind of holds people back, is going through life. There's also a group of people or a group of outside influencers that sometimes convince us that we're not teachable, right, or convince us that we're not coachable, or that we've been told that we can't earn any money, or that we're told that we're an introvert, or that we're a wallflower, or that we're told we have to dye our hair because society doesn't like white hair, or we are fed messages all day and all night long in the real world, as we'll call it, that tell us that we're not. But the reality is, we can absolutely be taught new tricks. I think the first thing that has to happen in order for that to occur is we have to be open to learning. And, in the business world, we call that coachable. In the real world, the non-business world, we say, are you open to change? Can you reinvent yourself?
Exactly. And as you're listening in, guys, whether you're listening on replay or you're listening live, think about this. I mean, do you consider yourself an old dog? Do you think that you are having to learn new tricks? Betty Ann says, I hope to learn new tricks till I'm 100. Why stop at 100, Betty Ann?
This is how well we know each other. I literally, the second Betty Ann wrote that, I was like, oh, Caren is going to beat me to the line on this.
Well, but it's true. I mean, we have some personal history around this, right? Yeah. Like right now, you're sitting down in Los Angeles in a hotel getting ready for an event, right?
Yep.
And I remember many years ago, you and I sitting, I think in that very hotel, sitting in the coffee shop, right? And, you had come out on all of my events. You've been speaking for me all over the place. And I was so busy telling you that I was not an internet marketer. I remember that conversation. Do you?
Yeah, very clearly. It was the day you actually came out of the closet as an internet marketer.
Yeah, I was because, well, first of all, I had a very negative connotation about that. And, but you kind of explained yourself, and you explained to me how that was something that I needed to embrace and jump into and accept. And in fact, I became teachable in that moment. So what other ways can we help people and our viewers, our listeners, whether now or on replay, that they can become teachable, that they can be, literally learn new tricks?
Yeah, I think, I have said many, many times that at the end of the day, nothing changes until the pain of changing is less than the pain of staying the same, right? So a lot of times we are kind of forced into being coachable or teachable. We go through a life-altering event, whether we lose a loved one, whether we are diagnosed with a fatal illness, whether we lose a job, whether we get disowned by our parents, whether we, there's a whole host of life-altering events that kind of force us to become trainable or teachable or do something different. But there's also a maturity level, I think, that as we go through, we just kind of get fed up with being fed up. The cliche, you kind of get sick and tired of being sick and tired.
That's true.
Right? And so it's always kind of amazing to me. I think that there are points in our journey that, for whatever reason, can spark a change or a pivot or a different way of being. I remember when my mom retired, and my mom was a very, very active member of the community. She was a high school principal that was dialed into politics, the local politics of our town. And, this is an amazing woman that spent her career being in front of the public eye, dealing with thousands of people on a given time. And I remember the day she retired, the Monday after she retired, she looked at me and she was like, well, now what? I don't know what to do.
I understand that.
And here we are a few years later, and I look at my mom, and it always cracks me up. And sometimes we talk about this, that, here my mom was engulfed in her work. She was she was a bigwig in the educational hierarchy in Washington State. And now my mom is playing poker. My mom is golfing. My mom is like hanging out at the gym. My mom is like going on theater trips in Europe, like the craziest stuff that as a kid I would have never thought she would have done.
How wonderful is that, though? So I'm not going to call your mom an old dog, God forbid. I would never do that. But she has learned how to be somebody in this new skin. This new skin. I mean, my husband is retiring at the end of October, and he's going through some of the same thing. What next? What does this mean? Does this mean, and I know a lot of people when they go through getting ready to retire, retirement doesn't have to be death. I mean, and there are many people that think when you retire, that means that's the end of your world. And we're here to tell you, regardless of what age you're at, whatever skin that you're in, whether you want to retire at 40 because you can, or whether you want to continue working till you're 90 because you can, it doesn't matter.
I think, Caren, what it all comes down to is choice, right? We're all given the same, well, that's not actually true. I'll say it comes down a lot to choice, right? You know, I look at myself, and when I use the word retire, I think that means something to me that it might mean different to somebody else, right? For me, retirement simply means that I have more residual income coming in than my bills.
Exactly.
At that second, I'm retired, right? And so, kind of my latest iteration of what I've done is I have really taken on the journey of getting to retirement quickly. Doesn't mean I'm going to stop doing what I'm doing. It doesn't mean I'm going to stop. What it simply means is that at that point, I'm going to have choice, right?
Exactly.
So when you look at retirement and going into this whole dog new tricks conversation, there are so many things that are open to all of us at any given time, whether it's learning how to invest in real estate, whether it's learning to trade stock on the stock market, or trading Forex, or maybe if you want to have a social element, joining a network marketing opportunity and putting together a culture around a social environment, whether it's going to start a charity or a nonprofit, something that you've always had a passion for, a group of people, a community that you wanted to serve, you get the opportunity to step into that. Really, the new trick, if you will, and I'll put new trick in quotation marks, is simply how to pay for it.
Exactly. And you're a master at that because you are a master at creating multiple streams of income for exactly what you're talking about. And it's not too late for anyone to step into that. As you said, there's many ways to do it. If you're flipping homes or you're network marketing, whatever it is that you're doing. Betty Ann Green said, my mom at 96 in the nursing home decided she was there to help the others who couldn't function as well as she, whether it was representing them at the residents' meetings or helping them play bingo. Big lesson for me. That's awesome, Betty Ann. That's exactly it. Exactly it.
I think too, what I always find is I learn from other people that have gone before that journey in front of me, right? I learn, if I'm going to look at a network marketing opportunity, the fact that I can go to an event and I can see 100-year-old little old lady, talking about compensation plans or flipping real estate or collecting art or, turning over a stamp collection or whatever. Like, I love learning from people and talking to people about their stories because you never know what opportunity is going to crack open if you have those conversations. And so the one trick that I think we could all learn or get better at is asking great questions and being present with the answers and looking for those opportunities in those answers of meeting other people and their stories.
You have a quote that you like to say, opportunities
multiply as they are seized. It's an old Sun Tzu or whatever that quote is, group is, or ancient Chinese secret or whatever. But it's, it's interesting. And I know we're not going to have a ton of time to talk on this, but here's the reality. The reality that some people will say, oh, put your head down and focus, only do one thing, create success in one area. Well, what I find is that those folks are never shown other opportunities because they're so closed-minded and they've got their blinders on. And I always use the example, I'm like, if you look at some of the big, powerful, influential people of our time, Gandhi, Oprah Winfrey, any of the presidents, Richard Branson, Robert Kiyosaki, Barbara Corcoran, some of the biggest entrepreneurs of our time, I want to just go, you don't think that they seize opportunities, that they look at other opportunities, that they are open to taking, it doesn't mean they're going to jump on every opportunity, but they keep their ears open to opportunity. And I think that's one of the biggest things when you go through life and you're coming into a second or third chapter of your life, or 12th or 13th chapter, is really keep your opportunities open and keep your eyes open and keep your perspective open, because the minute we close down and the minute we shut down and put our blinders on and only go to one little thing, that's where it turns into stubborn, I'm right, and you don't open yourself up to opportunity.
So true. Oh my gosh, so cool. And so much value that you're saying right now. And this is a short show, unfortunately, so we're not going to be able to deep dive into this, but we will have you back and we'll deep dive after that. I want to put up your Facebook profile page, actually your business page, facebook.com, Casey Fan. Go check it out. All sorts of amazing content and golden nuggets that Casey puts out there. And if you really want to go check out what's going on with Casey and maybe expand your business, maybe create some, multiple streams of income, Casey is the one to do it. Go to expandthebusiness.com. So Casey, any last minute thoughts about teaching dog? Oh, there's my dog. Teaching dogs new trick. There you go. Any other thoughts?
If you could sit with a little less of your ass in the screen, that would be fantastic. I got to teach that dog to either be in or out.
Yeah, make a decision. Make a decision, in or out.
Look, Caren, here's the thing: is we are all about expansion, right? And the blue sea of abundance is out there for us to get on a boat and fly through, right? So often we play and are told and are pulled back into the Red Sea of scarcity. That, as we all move through this journey, just be expansive, think big, dream like you did when you were 5. When you were 5, you wanted to be a fireman or a policeman or the president of the United States or whatever. Those expansion dreams and thoughts are what will keep us moving in a forward direction. My grandfather pointed out when I was really, really little, 2 lessons he taught me: that always give more value than anybody expects to receive, and everything will be okay.
Yep.
And that my favorite fish when I was a little tiny kid was a shark. And one of the things that my grandfather taught me as a shark is that a shark always has to be moving forward. They cannot stop. They cannot move backwards, because if they stop or move backwards, they sink to the bottom and drown. And I always thought about that. So I always like to look at like a little shark just going through the water. Even though it might be slow, they're always on the prowl. They're always looking. They're always looking out in front of them, and they're already surveying the scene for opportunity. And opportunities multiply as they are seized, and as sharks go forward. Just be a shark and don't sink to the bottom and drown.
I love it. I can picture a meme right now. Be a shark. Be like Casey. There you go.
Please.
We want to thank everyone for joining us today. We know that you have a choice as to how you spend your time and where you spend your time. And we are so happy you just chose to spend your time with us today. So go out and, as Casey says, give somebody an awesome day. And we'll see you next time on the next episode of The Little White Lie. Goodbye, everyone.